And the red light's on.
So that means we are back for part 4 of this week's YAWA.
YAWA.
Our final part.
Questions. Let's go. Chop, chop.
Chop, chop. Okay.
We have no announcements.
From
just questions.
If you want announcements, check out part 1, 2, and 3. If you want answers, check out part 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So, from Brian Elvery on Facebook, how do you teach how do you teach your dogs to drink out of a water bottle?
If they're thirsty and the water is coming out of the bottle, usually they're pretty excited about it. The key to that
you just pick up on the cheek right here, squirt the water across their tongue and cheeks and mouth, and they'll just lap it up. I should have had a water bottle. It would have been way funnier. Just saying.
I'm glad you tickled yourself. The biggest thing would be to make sure that you are shooting the water across their mouth, not down their mouth. There's a much greater chance that they could, especially if they're hot, aspirate, suck a bunch of water in those lungs. And shooting across allows them to use their tongue to pull the water back in at appropriate amounts. So,
good question. Next question, and I think this one's kind of funny because it's about a Shiba.
Funny haha or funny yeehaw?
Funny because it's about a Shiba Inu, so that's why it's funny. From Fang.
Aren't those really like wrinkly dogs?
I don't know, actually. Producer, Google it.
Shiba Inu?
Fang Konglor on Instagram. I have a 1.5-year-old Shiba Inu. I am starting to teach him to retrieve for fun and to let some energy out. But while training, he stays down the hall and kills the bumper. Do you have any advice to help me stop him from killing the bumper and to have him bring the bumper to me? So this is not actually funny. I'm not making fun of you. Please don't think that. But our little puppy loves killing everything right now. And we call killing it because
they're cool dogs. Check that out.
Got the curly tail.
Mm-hmm. Curly tail. Not really wrinkly. I was thinking of a different dog. They kind of look like a teddy bear, though. I mean, teddy bear ears
cute.
and then curly tails, but very athletic, very
muscly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our little puppy likes to grab onto toys and bumpers and just shake them really much, which is what we call it, killing it, because I thought that was funny. So something that you can do is throw a little check cord on your dog, even in the house, down the hallway. So when they go down the hall and they're just shaking their bumper, you can give them some little tugs, heading their little feet back in your direction to keep them moving so that they can't lay down and chew on it or even kill it. That would be my recommendation. But that's a good start. Really fun that you're doing that with your dog. Next question from Odenbach on Instagram. How long in advance should you put in an application for a puppy? Do you have a wait list?
Yes, we do. Right now, the wait list is approximately 2 years. We're taking deposits for 2022. Currently, today is June 1st. So if you're watching this 6 months from now, it will probably have changed. The best thing to do, though, is to reach out to us, shoot us an email. If you're interested in the current information about our litters, check out our puppy page on our website. There's a puppy purchase agreement that talks about everything there. Go over that, get with us. Then we want to talk to you about your wants, your goals, your needs in a dog, and then see if we have a good fit for you.
And if you go to our upcoming litters page, that will typically be where we're saying what we're accepting deposits for. So even though I have my 2020 litters announced right now on our litter page, I say at the top that we're currently accepting deposits for our 2022 wait list. So it's a good place. Our website's always a good place for finding out information like that.
Yes, and then definitely if you're interested, reach out. We want to talk to you.
Next question from Blue Mountain Pointers on Instagram, which I like this because it's also talking about puppies. When you guys do decide to bring another pup into your program from another breeder, do you usually stick with previous breeders and pedigrees you've dealt with, or do you look for other programs that are out there? I have 2 female GSPs and am wanting to bring in a male into the mix in the next couple of years and would like to know your thoughts on sticking with previous breeders or expanding to different pedigrees. Truly appreciate what you guys do and help others that enjoy the same things you do.
Oh, well, thank you.
It really depends what we're looking to add to our breeding program and why. Sometimes we've worked with specific pedigrees before and we see exactly what they are potentially looking to add to our program. And we're like, well, I don't know if we exactly got what we were looking for in that instance. So we try and look for something different next time. And we wouldn't necessarily go back to that specific breeder. However, there's other times where we're like, man, they produced a really awesome puppy. For example, Quest. I want to just throw out there.
Yep.
We absolutely love Questy Pup. She's from Wyoming. Outlanders Kennel. And we've talked with Cheryl before about the potential of even working with some of her, stud dogs or frozen breedings to maybe go back to Quest with, because we do really like what we've seen out of her. So going back to something that Cheryl has is definitely something that we have in mind for our future. Not anytime real soon, because we've kind of got a lot of puppy stuff going on right now. But it's definitely something that's in our frame of mind to look at. So yes, sometimes we'll go back to previous breeders, or sometimes we'll have learned something from that opportunity of getting another dog from a program and we go, they aren't quite exactly what we were looking to add, or they were a little bit different than what we thought they would be, and we want to not do that again.
100%.
Because I think this is something that Ethan and I have stressed before, but I always think it's a good thing to stress. We are not kennel blind. And what we mean by that is we don't just say, well, we have gotten a dog from this kennel before, or we've produced this before, so we're just going to keep doing it, and I'm going to put blinders on to what that puppy truly is. We are wanting to improve the breed. We are wanting to move our breeding program in the direction that we want of creating versatile hunting companions that don't lose the bird dog side of it when the prey drive gets too high. But we also don't want to lose the prey drive if that bird dog and stuff gets too high, and lose retrieving desire and water love. So it's a balancing act. But we also say, hey, this litter isn't what we want to produce anymore. So we're going to change things up, and we're going to maybe eliminate a dog from our program so that we can continue harnessing what we are trying to produce.
Make the hard decisions to go, this isn't ultimately the direction we want to go, and move on.
Yes. This is a good question too.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I'm
trying to check time and see if I got enough.
Yeah.
GSP_fly fishing. Best of both worlds. I've never been fly fishing, but someday. On Instagram, how about a dog with a proper gun and bird intro and a good first season? Do you see dogs regress beyond foundational points like gunfire? If they have a strong prey dive, but more than likely won't be around gunfire until next season, have you seen this being a problem?
Almost never. Almost never. I think that gunfire is a big issue that if you have issues with gunfire, I believe it's almost exclusively related to a dog that's not mentally stable. And if you've gotten them to the point where they understand those things, they've hunted, they've done the things, there's been very few times that we see a regression unless there's some kind of catastrophic event in their life that, would be, I don't even know. A fireworks show goes off, and it startles them maybe for a second, and then they run into something, hurt themselves. It becomes this complete chaos of pain and noise, and all the things are associated together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fear. And that could be, some kind of crazy event would have to happen. But for the most part, no, I would not expect any kind of regression in that.
The one caveat I will say is if you've had your training and intro stuff and you go hunting, but you never run into any birds or shoot anything,
sure,
that's
you don't
not
have enough
truly a
conditioning.
hunting season. So yeah, you could run into, some issues because they haven't had any exposure for almost 2 years before their next hunting season. So
absolutely.
This is a really good question from Sheila.s_pets on Instagram.
Okay.
And this is something that we had just talked about the other day.
I'm interested now. What is it?
I've used 2 other head harness brands. I use them as directed. They always leave a mark on the top of the nose from where the dog still pulls. I foster senior English pointers and am having a really hard time with leash training on my current foster dog.
What are you doing?
Does y'all's collar and leash leave a mark on the top of the nose when they pull like other head harnesses? He's still trying to unplug our audio equipment. So the reason that I said this is a good question and looked at Ethan and said, hey, we just had this conversation is because we had our training seminar this last weekend with a group of people out and somebody had a Wonder Lead, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
And Ethan's like, this is the first time I've really handled one of these. They're pretty darn abrasive. And I said, yeah. And I've heard from other people that, you know, there's all these other harness style, halter style leads out there. I said, we should do a video where we get one of each and do a comparison across the board, because we really love our Easy Lead design and how it works when used properly. And I think it would be really good for other people to see why it works and how it actually truly works differently than some of these other brands.
And it's not going to be a bashing video. It's going to be a fair comparison of what each is and their advantages and disadvantages. But after getting to actually utilize the Wonder Lead, it makes sense to me why every single person I ever see use one wears leather gloves while they handle it. Because
it's very abrasive. And if you would think about that on the dog's, even the neck, it could be very wearing. But no, like Ethan said, it's not going to be a, you know, bashing fest about why our lead is truly the best. And we will do a fair, as unbiased as we can, since it's our lead, comparison where we can say, this is what they are, this is why we still like what we like, or hey, this lead also has value, and talk about that.
100%.
But to actually answer your question, Sheila, and I think it's great what you're doing by rescuing senior English pointers, English pointers, and giving them a good rescue home. So if the lead is used properly,
good words,
it should not leave wear marks. The problem that people every once in a while run into and ask us, they're like, hey, it's kind of wearing on the top of the dog's nose. And we ask for a video. I'm like, well, how are you using it? And then we see how they're using it and it's being used improperly. One, it's either on backwards, so the release of tension never happens. Two, the dogs are, or the people are truly just using the Easy Lead as a pulling management system.
Yeah.
So there's constant tension and pressure on that collar or on that lead.
And it slows the dog down and they go.
Enough to not feel like they're being pulled
better.
Constantly. Yep. But it's not truly harnessing and working on the healing behavior like it was intended, with a pressure on and pressure off system, where when the dog's not healing properly, that pressure comes on, but it should be minute and fairly quick pressure on, and get pressure off immediately when they get back into a proper healing position. So if used properly, it should not create wear. Definitely reach out to us if you get one and are having issues. We would love to help you work through that.
The other side of it is the material itself is not only very durable, but it has a softer and a very smooth type of finish to the actual poly material. So it's not abrasive at all. None. Zero. Feels soft in your hand, but at the same time, it's got that nylon rope that runs through it that makes it it doesn't stretch. It doesn't give any other way.
So it's really springy, so that tension and pressure comes off very easily when used.
Yep. So you think about something that wants to spring kind of back to straight. If you put tension on it, as soon as you release that tension, it goes back to trying. And that's how it works really, really, really well for the pressures applied. And then as soon as you release the pressure, there's nothing there because it tries to completely spring open to nothing. So
yes,
straight. We got time.
Okay, just checking because you're my question Nazi over here.
Oh yeah, we got time.
Last question probably from Luke.Hoffecker on Instagram. At what point, I like your pun, do you train differently when you want a dog to point till wing and shot? And this is a good one that we can end on because we're doing Hatches series right now.
At what point do you want to get your dog steady wing shot, basically?
Yeah, when do you start training differently to get your dog to point through wing and shot?
Perfect. So it's a really, really, really good question because there are a lot of things that we consider prerequisites to beginning steadied wing shot fall, steadied release, steady until you send them, however you want to refer to it, which needs to be another video talking about how terminology is not consistent in the bird dog world, which can be very confusing for people that are coming in. Talk about force breaking a dog. Well, force breaking it to what? What does that even mean? We don't know. So we will try and put together a guide to bird dog isms.
Steadiness terminology, maybe.
All of it. It's all of it. Yeah.
All of it. It's going to be a really long video.
But it's a great question. So we want to see dogs that have gone through all of our basics. And our basics are basically If you watch the pointing dog series that we have, the biggest ones, I think we have them listed at standingstonekennels.com/links. You can actually find the playlists, and the playlists have Rogue and Quest that show step-by-step from puppyhood on what we taught them and got them from 8 weeks to killing birds over them. Then we have a few series in there that we actually show how to YAWA train dogs. And then
our most recent one was with Legend.
Yep. Legend did a really nice job, and it shows up pretty realistic, pretty common response for the average dog. We'll probably have to at some point make one with somebody who has a terrible response to the collar, because it's a totally different process, but that's few and far between. The reason we use the method is because it works for so many dogs.
And Rogue also, we did a YAWA training portion in her puppy training
and she
series.
had some quirks to it, but she basically handled the same way too.
She did some wheelies. Never seen that before.
That was a first.
Like, what are you doing, girl? And it was a live video, so it was like, well, I guess this is what we're going with.
Yeah, but so we've done all of those basics, and then we take the dog hunting. And the key to the hunting aspect of things is when we move on to steady to wing shot and fall to release, all of the things, we want to make sure that the dog has a firm understanding of what the game is, because in order to get steady, we basically, in essence, take away the chase. As soon as the chase comes away, the dog will stand steady.
So if you have a dog that's gone through just the basics and doesn't have an opportunity to put all the pieces together, truly understand their role and what all those pieces meant for them as a hunting dog, then you add confusion to the process. You potentially can cause a dog to lack retrieving desire if you put too much pressure on them without that full understanding, where they're like, if I don't ever get to chase, what the heck is the point? You know, I'm not going to get to retrieve. This kind of sucks. And they just kind of through training.
Well, dogs are predators. They love the chase. They love that game. And it's a great way to build boldness and confidence and everything else. So when we start to take that away, you don't have enough understanding. You can potentially develop resentment to the training, and you can lose drive and desire around the task. So need to have all of those things. Once you get to those things, we teach, again, with an extremely low pressure method that is involved more around conditioning and setting the dogs up for success. It's a big part of what our program is based around. So we teach and develop dogs. We don't force and break dogs. And in that mentality, you have the ability to figure out how you can go about it to the best of your ability to help that dog to learn the task at hand. Now, we break that into a few things. First of all, we help a dog learn how to stand wing and stand shot. That involves going backwards a little bit in training to a belly collar, working through those things. Then we teach them to stop to wing and stop to shot. So that involves movement. And then once they've got to that point, we go out. We go back to pigeons and launchers, homing pigeons. We let them work through flyers until they'll stand those. Then we introduce gunfire. Then we move from that to shooting birds over them, and then into running birds. And all of that's done with a belly collar. And once they're good at handling running birds with a belly collar on by themselves and they get confident with that, usually we're making that transition back to the neck collar, and then we start running them in braces.
And if you're interested in this process at all, we actually just started a new training series with Hatch, and the first video is out, which Ethan was kind of talking about already. The second video is scheduled, and we are getting ready to shoot the third video very soon. So you're going to be able to follow along with our entire steadiness series. Yeah,
this series will take a normal, realistic amount of time that it takes, because it's just starting now and we're posting them as we're going along. It's good. You're going to see. Realistically, before we're actually killing birds over him and he's transitioned back to a collar on his neck, running in braces, it could be a month or two from now, depending on him. So it all depends on the dog, but you'll get to see a kind of a realistic timeline, and we're going to show you every single step and damn near every single training session. So you're going to be able to watch
his
how
progression.
He truly progresses in real time.
Yes, just like any of our puppy training videos, it's basically live. It's the first time this happens. You get to see if something falls apart, like the second video. So check that out, because it was kind of funny.
The second video was bad, but it
Not
shows
bad. But
it was bad.
We lost a little control.
You're gonna have to check it out. It should be comes out this week?
Yes, this week.
This week. So definitely, guys, take a look at that. Thank you. I think that's all the time we have.
That is all the time we have.
Okay. Thank you for joining us this week. we're out of
Bubbly.
what is this? We're out of bubbly and we're out of time. So we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate everyone that subscribes to the channel. We
appreciate your questions.
We appreciate your questions. We have all of the appreciation. And because today is the day that we're celebrating our 8 years in business, we appreciate everybody that has helped us to get where we are today. Thank you guys. I'm the guy with the pink gun.
And I'm Kat, the dog trainer.
We'll see you next time.